I've got a statement here which I believe to be true. Perhaps you believe it to be true. But I've looked at proving that it's true using the means at my disposal as a researcher. And I have found this process to be fraught. So I'm going to demonstrate to you some of the sources that I've looked at in attempting to prove that giving birth is indeed painful. So to start off with, everyone I asked about this, ranging from my sisters to my female friends to my colleagues, agreed. So I've got some consensus here on something that several people said to me was common knowledge. Okay, so we've got that's in the bag. But I thought, let's try and take that a bit further. If I was writing about the fact that giving birth is painful, I would want to be able to back it up maybe with something a little bit meatier than all my friends think this is true. So I thought, okay, what things can I actually throw at this? And I thought I will have a look at some learned journals in an appropriate area. So I went to the British Journal of Gynecology, which we'll shorten there to BJOG, and I found an article written in 2004 entitled Diamorphine for Pain Relief in Labour. There we go. Now, this still only really gives me an oblique clue as to the truth of my statement that giving birth is painful. Nowhere in this article, full reference available in the PowerPoint, does it actually state that giving birth is painful. It does, however, talk about the prescription of diamorphine for pain relief during the process of giving birth, from which I infer that giving birth is commonly painful because pain relief is being considered in that context. But interestingly, none of the authors of that piece thought to make this overt. So am I thrown back on my common sense, or is it in fact harder to prove this statement than I first believed? So I also thought I would look at some acupuncture-based research to see if we could get anything a little bit more relevant and specific there. And I looked at a thesis written here at the Northern College by Cheryl Mason, available in a good library near you, in which she looks at acupressure for women in labour and provides, in fact, an hourly pain scale. So we have a pain scale in which 0 equals no pain at all, 6 to 7 is a score indicating severe pain, and a score of 10 is described as unbearable pain. So if we're putting words like severe and unbearable next to the word pain, we're implying, again, that there is some pain involved in this great experience. Again, though, I'm not having a quotable one-liner, giving birth is painful. I'm still having to infer that information from the pieces of information I can find in either of these two eminently learned and respectable articles. So I thought, I'll try and get a little bit more practical with this. And I had a look at the website of Boots the Chemist, which is a respected and well-established company which has been running for something in the region of 150 years and which makes marketing decisions based on the beliefs of its customers. So they're selling a machine called a BABY TENS Digital. So this is one of these nerve stimulator machines that you can use during childbirth for pain relief, which it describes as offers maximum pain relief during labour and beyond. So I'm going to wear mine for the next 18 years. But the fact that pain relief during labour is given as an absolute there, I'm finding quite a compelling piece of evidence. If we require pain relief during labour, and if people are paying for a device which provides pain relief during labour, I'm quite liking that as an indicator that the experience is going to be a painful one. So as you can see, my little pieces of evidence are starting to stack up, and together they are helping to give me some proof. I'm still not finding a one-liner that tells me giving birth is painful, quoted by an author. So I'm still on the quest to do this. So I thought I'm going to look at some really kind of old-fashioned resources here. So I had a look at the Bible. Here we are. And in Genesis chapter 3, verse 16, I find actually the most direct piece of evidence so far in some ways. In pain you shall bring forth children. So there we are, in black and white, written down. Starting to stack up nicely there. But I'm sort of thinking that that's a little bit of an old-fashioned resource, so I've got to sort of temper it with something a little bit more up to date. And finally, I do find in the British Medical Journal, again, full reference in the PowerPoint for those of you that want to follow it up, a lovely series of user-friendly articles called The ABC of Labour Care. So there we are, nice and simplistic. And in the ABC of Labour Care, they actually make the statement, labour is usually painful. So there we are, we've almost got it. Giving birth, yes, it's painful, it's usually painful. So we've got to really add that as a caveat here. So we have to cover the fact that pain is an entirely subjective experience and one person's pain is greater than another. So there we are, in attempting to prove this thing, I'm actually doing quite a lot of digging with limited success, I would say, in order to prove something that perhaps people would think doesn't really need to be proved. I think my crowning piece of evidence is that I actually know this is true from my own experience, so I'm quite happy to let this one move on. So what I'd like us to do next is to consider some other truisms, statements that look like they're true but perhaps need a little bit of evidence throwing at them, and apply a similar process and try to put some evidence behind the words.